Stop scrolling for 1 second, because what if the reason your prayers feel stuck has nothing to do with God ignoring you? What if the breakthrough you've been praying for, healing, peace, direction, restoration, open doors, has been waiting on one spiritual decision most people never fully understand? Imagine praying and praying, asking God for help, crying in private, feeling spiritually exhausted, wondering, God, are you even listening? Now imagine discovering that sometimes breakthrough doesn't begin when life changes around you. It begins when something changes inside you. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to fast for a spiritual breakthrough, even if you've never fasted before. No confusion, no religious pressure, just a simple, beginner-friendly, step-by-step guide that can help you draw closer to God and prepare spiritually in a deeper way. But listen carefully. Most beginners unknowingly make one mistake that ruins their fasting experience before it even begins. And if you avoid that mistake, this journey could feel completely different. Stay with me, because Step 3 changes everything. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do, what to avoid, and how to begin the right way. Quick question before we continue. Have you ever fasted before, or would this be your first time? Tell me in the comments. Before continuing this video, please remember to like it, as this gives us a lot of motivation to continue sharing helpful content. I also encourage you to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay informed about our upcoming posts. Share it with your friends and family, and leave a comment to let me know what you think. Thank you, and enjoy the video. Maybe lately something has felt off. You pray, but it feels like your words are hitting the ceiling. You ask God for direction, for peace, for healing, for answers, but nothing seems to move. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and somewhere deep inside, a difficult question quietly starts forming. God, are you hearing me? Maybe you've been carrying silent battles nobody knows about, anxiety that keeps you awake, family struggles that drain you emotionally, financial pressure, spiritual confusion, a door you desperately wanted to open that stayed shut. Or maybe you simply feel distant from God, and you don't even know why. And then someone mentions fasting. But suddenly, more questions appear. How do I even start? Do I stop eating completely? What if I fail? Does fasting actually work? If you've ever felt confused, spiritually tired, or desperate for something to change, I need you to hear this. You are not alone. Many people don't begin fasting because they feel spiritually strong. They begin because they feel spiritually stuck, because they're searching for clarity, because they're tired of feeling disconnected, because they need hope again. Maybe you've prayed for breakthrough so many times that disappointment has quietly started replacing expectation. But what if this season isn't the end of your story? What if God is inviting you deeper instead of pushing you away? If this sounds like you, keep watching, because what you're feeling may be the exact reason this video found you today. Be honest. Have you felt spiritually stuck lately? And I truly want to know. Comment one word below. What breakthrough are you praying for right now? Healing, peace, direction, restoration, strength? You're not here by accident. What fasting actually is: beginner clarity. Before you even think about starting a fast, we need to clear up one huge misunderstanding, because this is where most beginners misunderstand fasting. And trust me, understanding this can completely change your experience. When many people hear the word fasting, they immediately think,
So, I just stop eating? But spiritual fasting is much deeper than that.
Fasting is not about starving yourself to impress God. It's not punishment. It's not a way to force God to answer prayers faster. And it's definitely not about trying to prove how spiritual you are. Fasting is intentionally stepping away from something physical for a period of time so you can focus more deeply on something spiritual, your relationship with God. Think of fasting like this. Imagine your life is full of noise, notifications, stress, fear, constant distractions, worry, endless thoughts racing through your mind. Now imagine slowly turning the volume of all that noise down so you can finally hear something important more clearly. That's what fasting is. Think of fasting like turning down the noise of the world so you can finally hear God more clearly. Instead of feeding every distraction, you create intentional space for prayer, reflection, scripture, and spiritual focus. And this part matters. Prayer and fasting work together, because without prayer, fasting can become just skipping meals. But when prayer enters the picture, fasting becomes something deeper. It becomes intentional time spent seeking clarity, wisdom, peace, strength, or spiritual renewal. That doesn't mean every fast instantly changes your circumstances. Sometimes the first breakthrough happens inside you. Your mindset shifts, your peace grows, your spiritual focus becomes stronger. Don't skip this part, because if you misunderstand fasting, the entire experience can feel frustrating or confusing. So let me ask you, did this definition surprise you? Let me know below. Define your breakthrough purpose. All right, before you begin any fast, there's one question you absolutely need to answer first. Why am I fasting? And I want you to really think about that question, not rush past it. Because without this step, fasting becomes frustrating. Many beginners start fasting with no clear purpose. They simply think, I guess I'll just fast and hope something happens. But fasting becomes much more meaningful when you approach it with intention. Write this down if you can. Clarity creates focus. Ask yourself, what breakthrough am I truly seeking right now? Maybe you're praying for healing, physical, emotional, or mental healing after a painful season. Maybe you need direction because life feels uncertain and you're asking, God, what should I do next? Maybe what you need most is peace, because stress, fear, anxiety, or emotional exhaustion have been weighing heavily on you. Or maybe you're believing for restoration in a relationship, your family, finances, or something broken that feels impossible to repair. Some people fast seeking deliverance from destructive habits, fear, confusion, or spiritual heaviness. And others simply want spiritual growth, to feel close to God again and strengthen their faith. Here's what matters. You don't have to have perfect words. Your reason can be simple. God, I need clarity. God, I need strength. God, I feel lost. Even honesty can become a powerful prayer. This one decision makes fasting much easier, because now your prayers have direction. Instead of randomly hoping something changes, you begin fasting with focus and purpose. And I want to encourage you with this. A clear purpose doesn't guarantee instant answers, but it creates intentional space for spiritual growth and reflection. So tell me honestly, what are you believing for right now? Share it in the comments. Healing? Peace? Direction? Breakthrough? You never know who might be encouraged by your story.
Choose the right fast, beginner-friendly. Now that you know why you're fasting, let's talk about something that stops a lot of people before they even begin. Choosing the right kind of fast. And listen carefully, because many people fail because they try the hardest fast first. They feel inspired, motivated, emotional, and immediately decide,
I'm going to do an extreme fast for several days. Then reality hits. They feel overwhelmed, discouraged, exhausted, and quit before they even build consistency. That's why I want to tell you something important. Start simple. You don't have to do something extreme. Begin where you are. Fasting is not a competition. It's about intentional spiritual focus. Here are a few beginner-friendly options. First, a full fast. This usually means abstaining from food for a period of time while drinking water. Some people do this for several hours, sunrise to sunset, or longer periods depending on experience and health. For beginners, this can feel intense, so don't pressure yourself. Second, a partial fast. This is often the easiest starting point. You may skip one meal a day, avoid eating during certain hours, or remove specific foods while dedicating that time to prayer and reflection. Third, the Daniel fast. This approach usually involves avoiding highly processed or rich foods and focusing on simple foods for spiritual discipline. Many beginners like this because it feels more sustainable. Fourth, a social media or digital fast. And don't underestimate this one. Sometimes the loudest distraction isn't food. It's constant scrolling, notifications, entertainment, and noise. Giving up distractions can create more spiritual focus than you expect. Here's my advice if this is your first time. Keep it realistic. Choose something meaningful but manageable, because consistency matters more than intensity. A simple fast done with intention can be more powerful than an extreme fast done out of pressure. So let me ask, which fast sounds realistic for you right now? A full fast? Partial fast? Daniel fast? Social media fast? Tell me below. I'd love to know where you're starting. Prepare spiritually. All right, this next step is important. In fact, this is the step most people skip, and why they miss breakthrough. Because here's the truth. A fast without prayer becomes dieting. A fast with prayer becomes transformation. Let that sink in for a moment. Simply avoiding food or even social media doesn't automatically create spiritual growth. The real power of fasting comes from what you replace the distraction with. If you remove something but fill the space with nothing, the experience can feel empty. But if you intentionally fill that space with prayer, reflection, and spiritual focus, something begins to shift. So before you start fasting, I want you to prepare spiritually. And don't worry, you don't need a perfect routine. Start simple. First, create a prayer plan. You don't need complicated words. Just decide, what will I consistently pray about during this fast? Maybe it's healing. Maybe direction. Maybe peace, restoration, wisdom, strength, or simply wanting to feel close to God again. Even 5 intentional minutes of honest prayer matters. Second, choose a few scriptures to reflect on. Why? Because when emotions feel unstable, truth helps keep you grounded. Instead of endlessly scrolling, spend a few quiet moments reading something spiritually encouraging and reflecting on what speaks to your situation. Third, remove distractions on purpose. And this part matters more than most people realize. If your fasting time is constantly interrupted by endless notifications, entertainment, or mental noise, staying spiritually focused becomes harder. Sometimes breakthrough begins when the noise gets quieter. Fourth, keep a journal. And no, it doesn't have to be fancy. Just write honestly. What are you feeling? What are you learning? What prayers keep coming up? What thoughts or emotions are surfacing? Because sometimes growth is easier to notice when you look back. And I want to tell you something encouraging. Not every fast feels dramatic. Sometimes transformation is quiet. Sometimes clarity comes slowly. Sometimes peace grows little by little. But don't underestimate small spiritual shifts. What feels small today could become meaningful tomorrow. So let me ask, would you like me to make a prayer routine video next? If yes, let me know in the comments. I'd love to create one for you. What to expect during the fast. Now let's talk about something that almost nobody explains honestly. What actually happens during a fast? Because if you don't know what to expect, you might think something is wrong and quit too early. So let me prepare you for this. The first challenge for many people is simple: hunger, especially in the beginning. Your routine changes, your body notices, and suddenly, that meal or habit you barely thought about before becomes all you can think about. But hear me, this feeling is normal. It doesn't mean you're failing, it means you're adjusting. Then comes something people rarely talk about: emotional resistance. Sometimes frustration rises, irritation, doubt, unexpected emotions. Even moments where you think, why am I even doing this? And if that happens, I want you to know something important. You're not doing it wrong. Sometimes when distractions become quieter, emotions become louder. And that can actually reveal areas that need healing, prayer, reflection, or growth. But here's the beautiful part. Many people also begin noticing moments of greater spiritual clarity, more focus, more intentional prayer, more awareness, sometimes even deeper peace. Not always instantly, but gradually. You may still experience doubt, too. Questions like, is this even making a difference? Am I doing enough? Will anything change? And this is where discipline matters, because fasting isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. Choosing to stay committed even when the experience doesn't feel dramatic. I want you to remember this line: the hardest moment is often right before the breakthrough. So if it feels difficult, uncomfortable, or emotionally challenging at times, don't quit too early. Keep going. Growth often happens quietly before you can see it clearly. And I want to hear from you. What part of fasting feels hardest for you? Hunger? Focus? Discipline? Doubt? Be honest in the comments. You're definitely not the only one. Praying for breakthrough. Now let's talk about one of the most important parts of fasting. How do you actually pray for breakthrough? Because many people enter a fast thinking, I'll just pray whenever something comes to mind. But having a simple approach can make your fasting experience feel much more meaningful. I want you to hear this carefully, because this could change how you pray forever. First, be specific in your prayers. Instead of only saying, God, help me, try being honest and clear. God, I need peace because anxiety has been overwhelming me. God, I need direction because I feel confused. God, help restore what feels broken. You don't need perfect words. honest words matter. Second, practice gratitude even before you see results. And I know this can feel hard when you're struggling, but gratitude shifts your focus. Instead of only focusing on what's missing, you begin remembering what's still present. Even simple prayers matter. Thank you for strength. Thank you for another day. Thank you for walking with me even when I don't understand everything. Third, leave room to listen. And this part is powerful. Prayer is not only speaking. Sometimes it's sitting quietly, reflecting, writing thoughts down, creating space for spiritual clarity and inner stillness. Sometimes answers don't come through dramatic moments. Sometimes clarity comes quietly. And finally, be persistent. Because breakthrough doesn't always happen instantly. Some days may feel emotional. Some days may feel quiet. Some days may feel ordinary. But keep showing up. Keep praying. Keep seeking. And remember this. Sometimes breakthrough begins internally before anything changes externally. Sometimes peace comes before answers. Strength comes before change. Clarity comes before direction. Don't underestimate what's happening beneath the surface. So let me ask, do you want a full breakthrough prayer guide? If yes, tell me in the comments, and I'll make one next. Common mistakes beginners make. Before you begin your fast, there's one more thing you absolutely need to know. Avoid these mistakes, and your fasting experience will be completely different. Because honestly, many people quit fasting or walk away discouraged, not because fasting failed, but because nobody warned them about these common mistakes. Most people don't realize this. Mistake number 1, fasting without spiritual focus. This is probably the biggest one. If fasting only becomes, "I'm not eating today," without prayer, reflection, or intentional spiritual time, it can start feeling empty or frustrating. Remember, a fast without spiritual focus can feel like suffering, but a spiritually intentional fast feels meaningful. Mistake number 2, unrealistic expectations. Some people secretly expect instant transformation. I'll fast for one day and suddenly everything will change. And when life doesn't immediately shift, discouragement creeps in. But hear me. Growth is not always instant. Sometimes peace grows slowly. Sometimes clarity takes time. Sometimes breakthrough unfolds step by step. I wish someone told me this sooner. Not every meaningful change happens overnight. Mistake number 3, comparing your fast to someone else's. This one is huge. You hear someone say, "I fasted for 10 days. I did this extreme fast." And suddenly you feel like what you're doing isn't enough. But your journey is your journey. Begin where you are, not where someone else is. Mistake number 4, giving up too quickly. Sometimes the first hard day convinces people, maybe this just isn't for me. But difficulty doesn't always mean failure. Sometimes it simply means growth is uncomfortable. So remember, don't quit too early. Stay patient with yourself. Learn as you go, and trust the process. Because even small intentional steps matter. Now tell me honestly, which mistake surprised you most? I'd genuinely love to know in the comments. Before we end this video, I want to leave you with something important. If you remember nothing else from today, remember this. You do not have to be perfect to begin. You don't need the perfect words. You don't need some deep spiritual level. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need a willing heart. Because fasting isn't about performing, it's about intentionally making space for spiritual focus, prayer, and reflection. And maybe, just maybe, this season of feeling stuck isn't the end of your story. Maybe it's the beginning of something deeper. Maybe clarity is closer than you think. Maybe peace is growing quietly beneath the surface. Maybe this next step matters more than you realize. Your breakthrough may not happen overnight, but every sincere prayer, every sacrifice, every moment seeking God matters. Even on the quiet days, even when emotions feel messy, even when answers don't come as quickly as you hoped. Don't underestimate what one focused fast can do. Sometimes change begins in ways you can't immediately see. And if this video encouraged you, I want to ask something simple. If you're starting a fast after this video, comment, "I'm ready for breakthrough." I genuinely want to pray for you and cheer you on in your journey. And if someone came to your mind while watching this, share this video with them. You never know who might need encouragement right now. And don't leave just yet. Watch the next video where I show the biggest fasting mistakes beginners make and how to avoid them completely. Your journey might be starting today.